The boy is only 7 years old, but he is stronger than most adults in terms of strength. He chose the 8-star vocation summoning stone at the beginning. Every summoning beast can bring bonus to his attributes, but because of the identity of a farmer, he is not allowed to leave the village. He can't hunt and kill beasts, which means he can't level up. Until he was 7 years old, he finally convinced his father. He had a chance to hunt with the villagers. But because he wanted to hunt a sea-level wild boar, he could only observe from a distance and could not participate. The villagers' ability values are roughly distributed between C-level and E-level. There is already a set of battle processes to deal with wild boars. It seems that for him, in addition to gaining some knowledge, it is useless. But he didn't know that his real intention was to come over and mess with the master. The wild boar has a high level of experience as a C-level. As long as he participates in killing, ordinary newcomers will not exceed a few levels. But he can only observe from a distance. How can he reach the master? This may be difficult for others, but it is not a problem for the summoning stone. No one knows that he has gained experience and has reached level 3. It turned out that when the wild boar first came, he had secretly released the summoning beast. It is not necessary to hurt the master. In the setting of this world, even if the summoning beast is killed, it will be regarded as participating in the battle. Therefore, he can only suffer. Because of his willingness to sacrifice his life, after the wild boar was killed, the master also gained experience. This will continue to upgrade. It is only a matter of time. But killing the wild boar is not an easy task. 1 or 2 are fine. The more the number, the easier it is to cause injury. Not to mention that the master also wants them to increase the number of hunting and killing wild boars every year. The master came up with a way to do this. That is to cultivate more newcomers. Anyway, the master will give them more people. Although the 5th level has no actual combat experience, as long as you go to the blade before the wild boar dies, you can upgrade first like him. After the C level comes up, it is only a matter of time to really participate in the battle. The more people, the safer it will be to hunt and kill wild boars in the future. Even if the master increases the requirements, he can still deal with it. I have to say that he is really a genius. 3 months have passed without realizing it. The good news is that the master's experience has reached level 6. With the talent of the summoner and the bonus of the summoner, his current strength is enough to defeat most adults. The neighbor Golda is also the strength of the D level, but he can't beat him on the wrist. But if his father is his opponent, he will lose miserably. The other party is also the top of the C level. Therefore, it is estimated that his current strength is probably between the C level and the D level. And his father also promised that when he could beat him, he would let the master really participate in the hunt. I don't know if this is just a matter of time for him, but the bad news is that wild boars and deer are monsters that only appear in autumn. Therefore, he will not be able to gain experience for the next 9 months. Meanwhile, June has come. As expected, he is still level 6, but the surprise is that the summoning skill has reached level 4. Every time the skill is upgraded, his strength will increase. First of all, he can finally summon a level 1 summoner, not to mention his strength itself. The key is that the summoner's attribute bonus will also increase with the level. In other words, he can beat his father on the wrist. Secondly, there is one more storage skill. After testing, this is a wireless storage space. It is reasonable to say that this is a good thing, but for him, it's only strange. In terms of his gaming experience, usually necessary items will only appear when necessary. But the problem is that he doesn't need to store them at all now. He had no water at first. As a result, when he wanted to summon a level 1 summoner, he found out that the pit was here. The system reminds him to generate a level 1 summoner. He must have a level 1 demon stone. This has never happened before. But now that he has enough magic power, he starts asking for demon stones again. The good news is that in this world, only the demon stones above level D are very precious. And the following level 1 demon stones are just things that no one wants. So he just picked up a lot. But when he thought he could finally summon with a demon stone, the system told him again, you have to put it in the storage space. Finally, the truth came out, but it's reasonable. After all, as the amount of demon stones increases, he can't carry hundreds of demon stones with him all the time. And this time, he successfully generated the first level 1. It can provide him with a patient and agile butterfly. The second one is the sword-eating tiger. This is a simple attack-type beast. The family can provide him with 10 points of physical strength and attack power. The third one is an eagle. His eagle eyes can probe around. The fourth one is a grass type. His special skill is healing. The last one is a stone type. His special skill is hardening. It looks like he's just one person. But he even has attacks, defense, simplification, treatment, and reconnaissance skills. And this also made him realize in an instant why summoning is the strongest profession. That's because he's just one person. So the 5th level of hell is over. He's just a summoner. But he's stronger than the sword god in the near future. Just because every summoning beast can bring bonus to his attributes. And the higher the level, the more bonus he gets. But because he's a slave, he can't go out freely. So he wants to upgrade. He can only become a commoner. And there are only 2 ways to become a commoner. One is to hand over 10 gold coins. But to make this money, you have to work hard. The second way is to get approval from the Lord. As long as he says a word, he can become a commoner. He thought the latter was unrealistic. But at the age of 8, the Lord came to their village to observe. And the reason is curious. How do they usually hunt? In all the villages, the wild boars they hunt every year are the most. Because the village chief knows that this has something to do with the Lord. So he named him. And this also gave him a chance. If he gets approval from the Lord, he can directly become a commoner. The next day, the Lord came as he promised. There was also a whole group of knights with him. And his daughter, Zimao. Because the number of wild boars to be hunted this year is twice that of previous years. He was going to let the knights hunt together. I didn't expect the Lord to let them do it. But Yang Yanping can do it with the current manpower. His confidence made the Lord very curious. But his daughter didn't believe him. She only thought he was bragging. The Lord didn't want to fight with her. Instead, he took them directly to the hunting site to prove it with actual actions. He let the Lord's group of people watch on the lookout tower. It can be seen clearly here. Then the hunting team began to act. First is the right ear group, responsible for attracting wild boars. Then it's the siege group. They use a huge shield to block the wild boars. When they can't move, there will be a long gun team to attack. End the wild boar's life. The whole process is clean and smooth. After seeing it with my own eyes, the Lord was very surprised. You should know that in this world, wild boars are not common, but sea-level beasts. The siege group can't do it so easily. But now a group of farmers did it under his nose. At this time, an accident occurred. Suddenly, 2 wild boars broke in. The siege group wanted to go to support, but was stopped by the Lord. Let alone a wild boar. Even if they deal with 2 at the same time, they can do it. Their current manpower is sufficient. They can kill at the same time by splitting up. It turned out that after he invented the spearbow method, with the increase in the number of wild boars hunted, the level of newcomers has basically risen. Not only can the number of people used increase, but also the many war rewards. Also, let them change guns, use the shield, and wear the armor. Hunting wild boars is the first to come, and the 3 just hunted, plus the Lord's arrival, they have already hunted 7. In just a few days, they have killed 10 in total. Half of the 20 missions this year have been completed. Seeing the Lord talk to himself from start to finish, this also makes the Lord admire him very much. But who came up with the strategy of hunting wild boars? The Lord directly pushed it to his father. After all, he said that he would never believe it. And after witnessing the whole process, the Lord decided to reward them. So far, all the farmers who have participated in the hunt have been given the status of their civilians. The Lord didn't expect this day to come so easily. But who knows? The reason why the Lord is so generous is because the number of wild boars hunted every year increases. In fact, it is the king's decree, and they should be the most hunted village. But anyway, this also means that he is free from now on. But before he fantasizes about how to upgrade in the future, the Lord changed his mind again. For the greatest hero of hunting wild boars, which is the father of the Lord, he decided to give another reward and asked what he wanted. The result made the Lord speechless. His father hoped that he could work in the Lord's house. Even if he becomes a servant, this will make the Lord's sky collapse. This may be something that ordinary people can't ask for, but for him, it's equivalent to falling into another pit. After all, working at the Lord's house may not be as free as being a farmer. So how does he upgrade the monsters? And for the father's request, the Lord agreed very quickly. Because from the beginning to the end, the Lord's feelings for him are very clever. But some people are happy and some people are sad. The Lord was thinking about how to refuse. I didn't expect the Lord to agree. As a result, his father was moved to cry. This made him want to say it again. He couldn't help but refuse his father's goodwill. He could only agree, even if he had to find another way out. Before the farewell, everyone was very reluctant to him, especially Qingmei and Kleina. Before the farewell, he hoped to fight again. After all, maybe they won't see each other again. And how could the Lord refuse such a thing? But this time it's different. He has always been defeated in the past. After all, the other party's talent is 3 stars. But maybe it's just that he didn't use his full strength. In fact, with the help of the summoning beast, his ability value has been completely crushed by the other party. Yes, I wanted to see this face. It was time to set off soon. The Lord took the Lord's carriage and returned to the city with them. Although he never thought of being a male servant, but no matter how he went through 8 years of farming, he finally got the status of a commoner. He finally had a chance to go to the big city, and his journey to the summoning beast has just begun. So far, the 6th level of hell has ended. The man didn't expect that as the strongest 8-star summoning beast in the future, but he was sent by his father to the Lord's daughter to be a male servant. A 2-star demon guide can command him at will. But because there is no summoning beast in this world, his profession is a god's gift. So before he grew up, he had to be a dog first. Fortunately, although he was a male servant, he had a 1-day holiday every week. And this is his chance. Originally, he planned to register as an adventurer first, and then hunt the demon beast, and then raise the level first. As a result, this world can only become an adventurer at the age of 12. And he is only 8 years old at the moment, but the fool will waste 4 years, so he can only change his mind. After deciding to collect the information of the demon here, he went straight out to hunt. Knowing that the farther the city is, the stronger the demon will be, he soon locked the demon within 10 kilometers in the upper and lower levels. But before the official start, he had to confirm the summoning beast's ability first. The first is IQ. He tried to give him a command and let him take 2 steps and wait for the other party to do as he did. Although he can only summon 1 level at the moment, but because he has enhanced skills in the summoning room, he is actually incomparable to the first level. What's more, he can summon up to 40 at the same time. But because it takes more than 1 level to summon a demon, it is not necessary in general. And the eagle in his pet is best at searching for information, so he let them look for the demons nearby first. During this period, he worked with other pets. There are a lot of species he can summon at the moment. There are both attack and support types. The one with the highest attack power belongs to the tiger. The eagle has a high IQ, but it is still obedient. There is a delay in the heart. Just at this time, the eagle found the demon, so he followed his figure all the way. Not long after, 5 goblins appeared in front of him. They were more alert than expected. They had already been found. The master summoned 10 tigers at the first time, 5 in front and 5 behind, so that the goblins had nowhere to run. And as the pet with the highest attack power, the tiger's performance was very eye-catching, but it could not reach the point of killing the ground level. On the other hand, he was killed by the goblin in an instant. So in this situation, he summoned a butterfly that could be controlled. His powder has an 80% chance to make the enemy fall into a coma, but it can only work on the ground level demons. The goblin did not exceed this range. The master tried to throw a stone, but he found that the goblins could not wake up. The final result was almost perfect. 5 goblins were easily taken down. He got a total of 1,000 experience. In terms of single, maybe there are more wild boars than sea level, but the efficiency is very high. Next, as usual, a day later, the goblins within 3 kilometers were almost slaughtered by him. A total of 80 were killed. In addition, he accidentally met a level 1 rabbit. His level jumped directly to level 9. As it went on, he turned over in a blink of an eye. The next morning, no one knew what he did yesterday. On the surface, he was still an inconspicuous male servant, but in private, he was growing rapidly. Soon after a month, he hunted 4 times in total. The level has reached level 12. The more experience you have, the harder it is to find. But no matter how careful he is, he can't escape the attention of someone. When he knew that he was on vacation during this time, he went out early and came back late. The master was very curious about what he had done. The male master did not know how much he had been found, so he pretended to be involved and said that he had gone out to hunt and kill the beasts. Just because of his father, he likes to hunt, but did not specifically say what to hunt. His words made the master believe it. Everyone knows that his father has the strength of a sea-level hunter. There must be a father and a son, but he mistook him for a young man. The only thing he hunted was a sea-level rabbit, so he didn't have to hide it anymore, and the master would buy the sea-level rabbit. A silver coin and a rabbit made the master's heart sink. This also means that he can hunt openly. Soon after a week, in order not to make the master suspicious, in addition to hunting goblins, he also wanted to kill some rabbits to make some pocket money. But an accident happened today. The instruction he had given Liao Ying was to look for demons within 3 kilometers. As a result, the opponent took him beyond this range, and soon he found that there was a team of adventurers who were looking for help. After discovering that the opponent was only 4 goblins, the master took action without hesitation. The iron ball was his new equipment. It was more effective to use the headstone skill, because the identity of the summoner was not convenient to reveal in front of outsiders. So, he didn't want to summon a beast, because the summoner could bring bonus to his attributes. With his current level 12 ability, he was already enough to crush the ground level. While he was solving 3 goblins, the last one was also killed by another person. But compared to the joy of killing goblins, he was more worried about the captain's injury, because this place is far from the city. With his injury, it is difficult to go back for treatment. But fortunately, there was a male master. He lied to himself that he had medicinal herbs. In fact, it was the ability of another summoner. It has the effect of healing medicine. He was going to help him stabilize his injury, but he used it for the first time. In an instant, his wound was healed. The male master looked calm, but in fact, he was panicking. He was afraid that the 3 people would question him, but he didn't expect that the 3 people were very honest. He took the initiative to ensure that he would not reveal this to others. Although they didn't recognize what kind of herb it was, they knew it was very precious. As a return gift, they wanted to repay. They wanted to ask what the male master needed, but they couldn't give it for free. It just so happened that the summoner needed magic stones. So the male master asked them to collect some magic stones for the horned rabbit. In this world, level 1 is just a mess. For both parties, it was all for nothing. After a week's appointment, the male master and the 3 people said goodbye. Then he summoned the eagle directly. He was very curious about why the other party violated his order. He went to save others more than 3 kilometers away. At this time, the male master found out that his pet actually had self-consciousness. But after all, it was created by God. It can also be explained. And this turned out to be a good thing. This also means that the communication between him and the pet can be more flexible. By then, the 7th level of hell was over. The male master didn't expect it. Obviously, his summoner job is the strongest 8-star level. But in practice, he can't even beat the weakest 1-star swordmaster. And the key reason is that his level is too low. He chose the difficulty of hell at the beginning. Only 1% of the experience of beating monsters is gained. Therefore, only after the level comes up is his world. Because his current identity is just the male servant of the Spirit Master's daughter. Originally, he was going to hide his identity before he was strong enough. But on this day, the Spirit Master's eldest son returned from training. According to his occupation, he is a 1-star swordmaster. At the age of 14 this year, the male master didn't care about it at first. He just came to pick up his luggage. But he didn't know it was this operation. But it caught Miha's attention. Only he knew that there were hundreds of gold in it. But an 8-year-old male servant can pick it up. But he didn't choose to point it out. And when he came home, in order to test his training results, the Spirit Master specially found the commander of the knights to compete with him. The male master just wanted to gain experience. As a result, when Miha saw him, he suddenly wanted to compete with him. This surprised everyone. The male master had no choice but to agree. After all, he once revealed that he could hunt a level of rabbit. He just admitted defeat. Because he goes out to practice every holiday, he thinks that with his current level of ability, he must put in some effort to deal with the 1-star sword master. As a result, when the real fight began, he found that Miha could easily block his attack. On the other hand, when it was his turn to take the initiative, he was very hard. Unexpectedly, the other party's power was stronger than him, and even his speed was slightly inferior. Unknowingly, he had used all his power. But Miha was more than capable, and in the end, the male master was defeated. But what he didn't know was that it was actually because the other party was taught by the swordsmen in the school. And secondly, the 2 people's levels were too different. As a male servant, the male master's performance was already amazing, but at least his current strength did not exceed everyone's recognition. In the light of Miha, he was automatically ignored, and he came in a hurry and left in a hurry. The next day, the other party returned to the school. It seems that he will only come here for 1 day a year. A good news is that the male master does not need to hide his strength anymore, because the strength he showed yesterday was a bit unexpected. He was given the position of a private hunter. His salary will double every month from now on, but every week he has to hunt a demon for Miha. At this time, the male master learned that the financial situation of the master's family was not good, and the meat in this world is not cheap. As a male servant, he will naturally be suppressed, but he has no regret. He has 1 more chance to go hunting every week. This also means that his upgrading speed can be faster. Let's upgrade the level first. After that, the days return to peace. On the surface, as a private hunter, he will hunt the demons that Miha wants to eat every week, 1 day at a time. But in fact, in addition to completing the task on the surface, he will kill dozens of demons every time. Because as the level increases, the experience of the demons below the D level is gradually reduced. So he put the goal on the C level. First of all, he is aiming at the C level. In the beginning, he needs to deal with the existence of this level. He also needs the power of Summoning Beast. In addition to the trap that has been prepared for a long time, he can barely kill 1 after a day. The efficiency of upgrading is very low. But half a year later, with the upgrade of equipment and the level coming to level 24, even without a trap, with the strength of Summoning Beast, he can simply kill ordinary C level. The efficiency of upgrading is very high, but there are also high and low points in the C level. For example, the strongest Kai Yi, he can't even break the skin of the Jade Fox Fox. On the contrary, he can beat them in a second. Fortunately, when the level rises, the spirit powder of the butterfly in his favorite can already work on the C level. Otherwise, he can't beat Kai Yi at all. But even if the opponent is in a sleeping state and doesn't move, he has to scrape for a long time before he can scrape to death. He can't even recover the magic stone. It is necessary to know that Summoning Beast can bring bonus to his attack. It is said that the talent of his Summoning Beast is only intelligence and magic, but the attack power is only C, and this may be the root cause. But speaking of intelligence and magic, doesn't this mean that he is very suitable for learning magic? Maybe Kai's weakness is fire. Thinking of the Spirit Master's daughter, she is a 2-star mage, so he wanted his teacher to help test him, and he learned that as long as the crystal ball shines, he can learn magic. So far, the difficulty of Hell Level 8 has ended. Next, let's analyze the content of this episode in depth. Here, you will find a detail that has been ignored by everyone. The protagonist is obviously S, but he can't use magic. This setting is actually the most cruel one. Think about what he has done in the past 8 years. He studies tactics, invented rubbers, calculates experience value, plans upgrade routes, and even learned the first-time skill to level 3. Every time he grows up, he doesn't rely on talent, but relies on his brain. But it is this brain that was ruthlessly denied by a crystal ball in front of the magic test. You can't use magic. This is too absurd. A person with S can't learn magic. An 8-star professional attack power is only C. A summoner who can beat the monster but can't beat the 1-star swordsman. Do you think this is a game setting? No. This is the most realistic field of reality. What you are good at may not be able to manifest. The direction you work hard in may not be rewarded. You think you are an all-round genius, but the world tells you are just a student. But what's even worse is he didn't stop complaining. He found that magic was not good, so he continued to use summoners. Low attack power depends on the number of piles. If you can't beat it head-on, you rely on tactics. Look at the scene where he fights Kai. The spirit powder of the butterfly makes the monster sleep. He killed half a day before he died. Isn't this the life of ordinary people? There is no ability to kill all at once. You can only rely on a little bit of magic, persistence, and never give up. And the adventurer team saved by him clearly saw his magical healing ability, but didn't ask why. Because they know everyone has their own secrets, just like everyone has their own difficulties. This tacit understanding is more touching than any battle scene. What surprised me the most was the conversation between him and the eagle. He found that his summoner had self-awareness and would take the initiative to go beyond the command range to save people. At that moment, he suddenly realized that he was not fighting alone. The lives he summoned were not tools, but partners. They will pity others, want to help others, and make choices to surpass the program at critical moments. This is the real summoner. Not a slave, but a community. Not control, but trust. A person is like a regiment, not because there are many of them, but because every life is willing to fight for him. You see, this is not a story about a career of a hangman, but a story about the life of the least hangman. He chose the most difficult mode, not because he wanted to pretend to be forced, but because he knew that only the most difficult path could make him worthy of the lives that were willing to follow him.